Hey guys, it's Main here. Oh, sorry. There you go. Clap. All right, perfect. Hey guys, it's Main here, back again with another list of account reviews today. Not just one, but 6 we have today. So today we're going to be looking at Cbop, Arrestor, Blackbird, Sigma Mode, Daengo, and Kobe. So these people are pre-World 7. I'm just doing, again, same as the previous video, the list thing that you guys saw. Doing this for people that are not in World 7 that need help trying to understand the early game a little bit better, trying to get into World 7 to start getting those insane, sick, nasty bonuses that we have. Since, you know, and again, for the reason I'm not doing this for people that are in World 7 as of yet, because Toolbox has not yet been updated to include the vast amount of content that World 7 has. So in lieu of that, I'm trying to help people that actually need the help, as opposed to the people that have a little bit of an inkling of what they should be doing now that they're in World 7. So let's go into it. Cbop, let's see what we can do to help you out with your account. As always, I recommend looking at the previous video and the previous list of account reviews, because I went very in depth about damage, a little bit of skilling efficiency, and you know, sailing and like 200 talent level, stuff like that, how it's impactful for your account. So let's jump over to, I guess, Death Note, kind of see where you're at. So at World 6, Leak Spirits, okay. It's a good sign. You'll probably fit into the first category of people where you need to focus on talent levels, a little bit of alchemy, trying to level up alchemy bubbles, and definitely skill efficiency. So I would try to aim to get into the billions of prints for copper ore, for oak log, stuff like that. And as well, the big thing for you to do is going to be trying to get 90% print sample rate. If you aren't aware where to look at this in the game, you actually go to your skill info, go to construction, and at this bottom line here, it'll tell you what your print sample rate is. You want to try to get to 90% because that is the cap for it. And the best way to do that is going to be the Royal Sampler Prayer. So it is the prayer, I believe, through Acorn Nutto Tower Defense, whatever, Acorn Assault, that's what it's called. Max out this prayer, equip it on every single one of your characters. The EXP gain that you lose here seems daunting, but it's really, really not that bad. For early game, it's really not that detrimental. I would stick with it. Keep this on your characters until you have naturally a 90% print sample rate, which comes very, very much later into the game. So don't really worry about that too much. But I would get this prayer. I would max it out to make sure that your characters have that 90% print sample rate, because that is the biggest source of increase to your prints in the early game that you can possibly get. That and multi-resource chance, which I guess we will talk about now as well. So early game, the cap for multi-resource chance is 300%. And this comes from mostly bubbles. There's also stamps that provide multi-resource chance, and there's also star signs. So you're more likely to cap out on this through bubbles. So trying to increase your levels of Wyoming blood here, trying to increase bug squared, sploosh sploosh, multilago. These ones are very, very important. Getting this to 300% through the bubbles is going to be very important and very impactful for you. So this is where I'd recommend trying to focus on it, engage whether you're at that 300%. You can also look at your character skill info, similar to the print sample rate for construction. You can actually see what your multi-resource chance is. When you have the whole unlocked, there's an upgrade through Cosmo the Conjurer to increase that 300% to 600%. So by no means stop at 300%. Keep going to 600 and you can stop there. It's pretty much the point you want to stop. There's probably going to be another update to it, so on and so forth, but you don't need to necessarily worry about it too much at this time. Just trying to get to that 300% right now is going to be a very big kind of snowball for you in terms of printing efficiency. And obviously really try and focus on the mining efficiency, the main stat bubbles to increase your efficiency through those methods as well, because those provide a very decent amount of skill efficiency boost. Just alchemy in general, try to focus on and upgrade as much as you can. I think printing is going to be the name of the game for you, because as you get more prints, you're going to get more atom generation. Atom collider is going to become very crucial for you because of things like fluoride, because of hydrogen to help you reduce your stamp cost, because of helium to give you more efficiency, boron particularly because it'll help you with alchemy and trying to snowball and increase your overall account progression, right? This is free bubble levels you get every single day. It's very, very good. Also, now that gaming has gotten its expansion and that gaming is more powerful, sodium is going to be a very crucial upgrade for you to make sure your snail doesn't reset back to level 0. Sorry, yeah, when you're at like level 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? If you were to try to use and upgrade your snail without this upgrade, there's a chance it just resets back to 0. So this is a very crucial upgrade for gaming to make sure you lock in like bare minimum snail level. So once you get your snail to level 5, it can never go back to level 0. It'll always at the bare minimum go to level 5, and then once you level up to level 2, the bare minimum is level 10. However, that being said, you have to get to level 10 for you to get that. So say you're level 7 and you have sodium at level 2, you can still fail and go back to level 5, but you can't go to level 0. And then once you get to snail level 10, you can't ever go back to level 5 or level 0. So you need to hit those 5 level breakpoints for sodium to become efficient. And this is really one of the best ways to scale gaming, is getting that daily snail mail. Because this is a big multiplier to gaming bit gain. Every level of snail multiplies your bit gain by 2. So if you have a level 10 snail, it's 2 to the power of 10. If you have a level 11, 2 to the power of 11, 12, 13, 14, so on and so forth, right? So snail is very crucial, and this upgrade is vastly important. It is absolutely necessary. So focusing on atom generation now is going to help your account in very, very many aspects, because gaming and the new palette system is so incredibly powerful. With all the various account bonuses that are available through it. We have Spelunky Power, which is a World 7 available thing. We have double statue drops. We have Golden Sprinkler, not using a charge, Gold Ball Gain, Masterclass resource multipliers, collectible chance for jars and caverns, growth speed for your sprouts. We have the squirrel's mega nuts, so you can actually get mega nuts now, which is pretty cool. Increased golden food drops, higher construction build rate. There's a lot of stuff that gaming provides nowadays. They're very powerful, so the snail is going to be very good. So that being said, efficiency, prints, stuff like that, that's going to be a very big focus for your account, Cbot. Moving on, Arrestor, let's take a look at your account. So you don't have Onyx statues. You're much more earlier in the game than Cbot. So let's go take a look at what we can do to help you. First of all, let's go look at your prints real quick. So earliest game issue that we have, people, obviously is going to be bloach prints. So let me give you a bit of advice when it comes to bloach prints about how to do this properly. So bloaches count as I believe, purple tier fish. If you go to the depthometer and you go to if you go to the depth meter here, the bloach prints here is this last little tier. So the way to actually get a better bloach print is to find lures and fishing lines that have purple tier increases, or also fishing efficiency increases. Okay, that's number one. So if you have something that gives you a bunch of purple depth, I'd highly recommend trying to do that, because you see here it increases your chance of finding a bloach, which is what you want to do. That'll naturally increase your prints for bloaches. Same thing with the lines in lures, right? So you want to try to optimize that. I believe there is a chart somewhere in the Discord in the tips and tricks sections about what lures are most efficient for printing. Outside of that, what you can do to impact is actually the exact fishing spots themselves. The fishing spots are not all made equally. In fact, if you go to this first one here, I'm not sure if the AFK info will show you, but here you see it has a 6.5% chance to roll up a bloach print, or roll up a bloach. Okay, if you go to the second one, it has an 8%. Okay, if I go to the very last one here in this map, and I go try to fish at it, it's 8.4. So this last fishing spot here actually has a higher chance of you getting bloaches, which means you can actually increase your bloach print more significantly in the early game. So this is what I did in my free-to-play run. I highly recommend you doing that. Big shout out to people who contributed during the free-to-play speedrun, because I personally didn't know about this. So people like Sheepy, like Our, like who else was very big contributors to that. Those are the two main people I think of when it comes to very obscure advice. The other thing early game is Kangaroo. Kangaroo actually gives you a very decent amount of fishing efficiency, and I do want to say World 7 has boosted this absolutely insane. So don't take a note that this is actually 1000% fishing efficiency. It's more like 200%. Outside of World 7 with how much mega fish I have, but you can get a very decent amount of fishing efficiency, accuracy, total damage, AFK gain rate, fishing EXP, defense, and cash percent through Kangaroo. So do not neglect this mechanic. This was actually the main reason as to why I was able to push World 6 on my free-to-play account within a week, is Kangaroo and Owl, which you can now access in Quick Ref, by the way. So you have zero excuse not to do these mechanics while you're actively pushing the maps. Additionally, let's think of something else. So newer advice, things that was added to this update was actually the hoops minigame and the darts minigame. So these both have pretty significant amount of damage sources and coin multiplier class EXP, right? So these are very impactful. So what I do is I would go to the World 1 shop and actually buy out these minigames and put these on your characters. That way you have them. These aren't used. So you can actually just summon these at any time, and they go on like a 20-minute timer at the very most, or seemingly like around a 20-minute timer, and you can actually just do these while you're playing the game, right? You don't have to actually teleport to the board beans map or the baby bows map. You can actually just do these mini games, and then like once every like few hours you can go to the shop, go upgrade this, get your damage upgrade, right? And then same thing for the baby bows. Baby bows actually really impactful because this has a vault cost reduction, which is so incredibly powerful for people in the early game, because you're able to upgrade and max out the vault much faster. And a little bit of quality of life, you get a little bit of movement speed, which is kind of nice in the early game because movement speed is very annoying to come by. Cool. Okay. I suppose I'll stop there. The bloat print is the biggest kind of issue for people in the early game. Fruit flies as well. The reason I mentioned the bloat print and all that stuff is very important because of these two bubbles right here. FMJ, which gives you defense based off your equipment, and Shaccuracy, which is based off of your secondary stat for your characters. Accuracy is a big problem for people as they push World 1, as they push like World 3, World 4, World 5, and World 6. Because they haven't had a lot of chance to scale Shaccuracy, they haven't had a lot of chance to gain a lot of these base stat bubbles, right? So in order to increase your accuracy, Shaccuracy is a great place to start. Outside of that, you also have these main stat bubbles as well. So upgrading Roid Rage and Swift Step and Staple Genius, this will increase your damage as well as your accuracy, and will also help with your prints because prints scale off of base stat as well, or your stats as well. Okay, so Alchemy is a great place to start. Those mini games are also great places to start. Orion, the Mega Feathers, Mega Fish, Orion, and Poppy are great early game scalers for people's accounts. And obviously Stamps. Stamps are one of the earliest game mechanics you're introduced to. My general rule of thumb is if you're early game, is if you have the resources to upgrade something in either Stamps, either Alchemy, just upgrade it, right? Don't worry about, oh, is this a good idea now? Is it a good idea later? Just do it, right? You're going to benefit from this right now. You're going to snowball and eventually get into World 6 where the bonuses are going to scale absolutely insane to the moon. So don't worry about wasting resources in the early game because you're going to get billions of prints later on. It's going to dwarf all the progress you thought you could be missing out on. So just use resources at your leisure. Just throw shit at the wall. Cool. Blackbird. Similar situation. You don't have Onyx statues. Somewhat of an earlier game account, but definitely more progressed than the previous guy. So let's take a look where you are at Death Note. Ceramic Spirits is a good sign. Okay, you haven't yet started on Atom Collider, which again is fine. Same thing as the previous people. Work on the 90% print sample rate, max out the Royal Sampler Prayer, try to get more copper ore. I would be careful about what exactly you're printing on your characters. I see you have 2 Siege Breakers, which is fine. You don't necessarily need to do mob prints on every single character. I would recommend actually printing inside of a VMan speedrun. VMan is very good for mob print specifically because of the VMan speedrun. While you're in a speedrun, these 2 talents work. So the Void Radius and the Bossing Vein, whenever you kill a boss, and if you kill a Nightmare boss, it counts for all 3 of the tiers of bosses. It'll give you a bunch of mob respawn, which is impactful for prints. And then while you're in a speed run, you'll be getting this multi-kill per tier bonus, which at my talent level is 3,115% multi-kill, which is how mob prints scale. Okay. So while you're in a speed run, once you kill the bosses towards the end of the speed run, go to the mobs you want to print resources for. So early game, that's going to be things like Gmush caps. That's going to be floofy the sheep material, right? To maintain your refinery. And you want to make sure you pop your Void Radius, have the buff in the top right, and then you do your print. And then you'll be able to hit like insane levels of prints. Things like, at the end game hitting up like 724 mil spore caps. The reason I was able to get this so high is because of, well, I'm very end game. You're not going to hit this number, but because of the speedrun trick. Using a print inside of a speedrun is the best way to maintain refinery resources in the early game. And for about a week, when I got my VMan, it was the highest print I had in my entire account. It dwarfed copper ore and it dwarfed oak logs for me when I was an early game player. So it is very impactful to actually do a print inside of a speedrun because it's very beneficial for your account. So highly recommend doing that to help you with your refinery. And that way you can wean some of your characters off of using their printer slots on mob resources. And you can then focus them specifically on doing whatever they specialize in. So your warriors on mining resources, your blood berserkers, for example, or your barbarians on fishing, your mages on logs. Your windwalker can be monster resources. It doesn't fully specialize in catching, but because it's an archer, it has a higher catching print naturally. But Siegebreaker is definitely the one that does catching based prints. Cool. Okay. That should hopefully help you out with that. With the previous advice, I would look at the previous two accounts I just talked about to help kind of gauge whether how to kind of help you out with damage and stuff. But printing wise, I think that's a little bit of good advice for people that need that advice. So there you go. Sigma mode, again, kind of a little bit later into the game than the previous guy. You have a Kruk Opal. Big thing to call out is just make sure to reroll your Opals. I see some of them don't have the circle around them in Toolbox, which means that they aren't rolled to +1 to be a higher drop rate than normal. So this can roll up to +8 drop rate. This can roll to +11. This can roll +8. And the total damage here can roll to +5. So make sure to reroll your Opals to get a little bit more drop rate out of them. What I would do in your position, just to kind of get into the swing of things, just make sure to equalize the gold food to have across your characters. This is a lesson that is kind of forgotten about, and I highly recommend trying to get into the habit of this, is trying to split gold food across your characters. So if you have golden cheese on your characters, or if you have golden cheese in your inventory, split them across your characters so they all have an increased EXP gain for shrines. Make sure you have golden hamster gummies across your characters if you need them, if you don't already have like a 100% chance on the beans stock. If you do, then don't worry about it. But no, you don't actually have this yet on the beanstalk. So make sure in the meantime, while you're waiting on getting 10k golden hamster gummies, to split this 8,000 stack across your characters. And then when you have 10k, take them off your characters, put them on the beanstalk, and you should be nearing that 100% chance to collect sailing AFK time. The rest of it's going to come primarily from cooking the yummy peach ring meal. Getting a ribbon on that is going to help with the gold food effect, definitely. And trying to get to that 100% is going to be very, very good for your account. Okay. Wait a second. This guy's world 7. He snuck by me. Hey, get out of here. Okay, Anko. Anko, you're at Woodland Spirits. Okay. My advice as to where you are is to try and get to Bamboo Spirits, okay? So Bamboo Spirits is important because that's where you unlock these Shaman Summoning Stones for the white essence, and you need to complete that first for you to unlock the rest of the Shaman Summoning Stones, okay? So how do you actually, prepare for that is, number one, trying to unlock Arcane Cultist. Arcane Cultist was your Bubo masterclass. It is incredibly powerful for helping early summoning, and early summoning is a great exponential scaler for character damage. It's also great for sailing, which desperately needs artifact find chance for early game players to help speed things up a little bit faster, right? So trying to get your Arcane Cultist unlocked is number one priority, and then trying to unlock what's it called? Trying to use your books on the essence upgrade. This one right here, the essential essence, will make your summoning upgrades incredibly cheap. So you are able to push more damage upgrades on summoning to push higher tier battles. So you're able to push more of those colored battle stones. And then as you get more essence generation, as you get more damage, as you get more mana generation, you're able to fight more of the Shaman Summoning Stones, get more mana generation, fight more of those guys, scale your summoning into like really high territory you haven't before yet on this account. And summoning will like really help flesh out a lot of the account to help you push a little bit further into World 6. So unlocking Arcane Cult is going to be a very big priority for you. That being said, how do you actually do that? I guess in the meantime, trying to level up Auspicious Ore a little bit, definitely leveling up Tentacle a little bit. You may not be able to hit 200 talent levels, but unlocking AC is very possible pre 200 talent levels, and then getting AC unlocked will make sailing so much easier. It'll make pushing World 6 so much easier, and it'll unlock skill efficiency multipliers through summoning as well, which will make your prints a lot higher. So it's a very good way to help your account kind of progress a little bit faster, but don't rely solely on summoning to kind of fix your account, right? You need to go back and still do things like stamps, like you know, getting higher prints, getting 90% print sample rate, getting boron, getting atom collider setup, all that stuff, right? So summoning will help you in the short term, but to actually fix your account and prepare, because the world 6 kill count is still very high, it takes a very you know, high tier account to be able to push world 6. Summoning is just a start for you. Okay. Once you kind of get Arcane Cultist and you kind of get into a lot more summoning battles completed, the best next step for you is going to be, you know, obviously focusing on sailing. My best advice is to try to get the Ancient Fossary Tusk. This will give you a ton more artifact find chance. Getting 80 tablet at Ancient as well is going to give you a very significant amount of sailing speed to help you with more sailing speed early game, trying to do more slab grinding. So trying to get marble ore, trying to get prints of that, trying to get marble bars, trying to get some of these world 4 logs, world 5 logs, some of these fish you haven't unlocked yet, some of the whole resources I see you haven't gotten to yet, some of the flies, some of the craftable you know, materials, some of the craftable armor sets, weapons, some of the trophies, some of the World 1 trophies, for example, trying to get Dice Dynamo, trying to have that talent equipped, some of the party dungeon stuff like the Rusty Keychain, Taco Chain, Balloon Dog Chain. There's a lot of stuff here I see in Slab that you should be able to get to, or stamps you haven't unlocked that you would be able to get to, that you are able to get registered for Slab, because Slab will help you in various ways, such as total damage and sailing speed, both of which you do need right now. Okay. Cool. And outside of that, best ways for sailing speed, or things to get for sailing speed, specifically the Goat God has a blessing for sailing speed. Permeep has sailing speed. Also, linking to Permeep will give you more. I believe sailing, linking to it actually gives you boat sailing speed and plant growth speed within gaming, which is very important. So unlocking gods, progressing gods, trying to upgrade their blessing bonus, getting atom generation to upgrade some of these, because some of them take atoms, for example, upgrading gaming, trying to focus on gaming because some of them take gaming bits. All of that will help you. And then when it comes to the whole and managing your connections to gods, I would absolutely 100% try to max out Idleon magic as one of the first things you do, because you're able to link to 2 gods there. And having every single character linked to Arctis means you don't have to actively be in lab to get all those all the lab nodes active, right? And then having the other god link either linked to like Omnifau to help you progress Refinery, to help get you out of the Salt Lock, or Nobisect if you're trying to push portals, for example. Okay. Cool. Kobe, moving on to you. I just want to make sure you're not a World 7 gamer. Cool. You're not. You're at Lantern Spirits. So kind of in that early World 6 progression phase. You'll notice in none of these accounts I've really talked about Eclipse Skulls, because I truthfully don't think any of you guys are prepared for Eclipse Skulls. It takes 1 billion kills to do it. Honestly, I wouldn't consider the Eclipse Skull grind until you have tens of millions of kills on your characters, maybe into the 20-30 million kills, because it takes a very long time to do that. Right. However, if you guys ever get into the Eclipse Skull journey, I think what you should do is try to get Lava Skulls first. So that's 100 million kills across your characters. Not saying you should do that right now, Kobe. I'm just giving general advice to the other people I gave account reviews for, and for those of you in World 6 thinking about whether you should do Eclipse Skulls. Generally, if you're at like Sky Doggy Spirits, it's probably a good idea that you actually do that, because you need a lot of damage to progress past Sky Doggy Spirits. Okay. Cool. Anyways, Kobe, back to your account. You have a lot of Onyx statues, which is good. I think probably a good thing for you to do is, I imagine you have Choco Chip. First of all, let me take a look at that. Chips. There we go. Okay, you do have Choco Chip. Okay. Let me take a look at your stats. Your drop rate's at 11x, which is great. Let me go take a look at your cards. This is something I haven't touched on in any of the accounts, but definitely, if you are able to push Rift to get to Ruby cards, I would try to do that so that you can try to naturally farm poop up to Ruby, so you can get more crystal spawn chance, and also Demon Genies to try to get that to Ruby to get more crystal spawn chance as well. Make sure your card sets you have, Mr. Brightside probably for you right now for the increased drop rate. If you don't have Emperor, obviously, so ignore that, but you have like King Doot for the increased drop rate. Probably Mimics, the World 1 Crystal Mob, Crystal Carrot there. There's bot boxes as well for drop rate, so make sure to equip those for drop rate to help you out with that. You're at an okay spot where I would consider doing a little bit more. So in your position was exactly the time that I went and did World 5 gold food farming specifically for the Golden Hamster Gummies. I did this on my free-to-play account, and it massively increased my account. So if you haven't yet already gotten 10k Golden Hamster Gummies, I would get on that grind right now where you are with your talent levels. I would not be fighting tremor worms. I would probably doing citringes to help out with that. The reason tremor worms is better later on is when you get V-Man enhancement, specifically for the Knightly Disciple, and you probably get Knightly Disciple to around level 200 to help increase the uptime on this. This will make tremor worms much easier to farm and much more efficient to farm than citringes. But definitely gold food farming, getting those 10k golden hamster gummies to get you those golden hamster gummies, to get you the 100% chance to claim sailing AFK time across your characters, so you're able to progress sailing. So whenever you claim 2 hours of AFK time on your characters, you're able to collect those sailing boats and potentially get new artifacts, get more of the sailing treasure, so you're able to upgrade speed across your boats to get to later islands. For example, Fury Relic is one of them. So Fury Relic is obviously very powerful because it's maximum talent levels. So you're able to get to higher talent levels across your characters, able to get to like 200 tentacle more efficiently, able to get higher levels of cranium cooking, so you're able to get more liquid generation or more cauldron progress or more bubble unlocks, etc. So highly recommend trying to unlock Fury Relic because it's a very powerful thing. And then eventually Crystal Stake is definitely something to aim for, as is Trial by Rock. This will massively increase your pushing power and definitely help you out with progressing World 6. The other thing to look out for is trying to get to Cavern 9, because as I mentioned in the previous video of account reviews that I did, is the Grotto Cavern is good for two things: drop rate and multi-kill per tier. So the drop rate comes from an engineer schematic, gives you 5% flat drop rate for every layer of the gloomies that you killed, which is a decent amount of drop rate you get early on. And then eventually one of the measure upgrades you get is multi-kill per tier, which is again very, very powerful for pushing World 6. This is necessary for pushing World 6, I'd say, at this point. Okay. So kind of prepping, doing a little bit of hole grinding. My recommendation is you're not splitting opals, which is a fantastic thing. You're doing things correctly. I'd probably push Measurer up a few more levels because it's only 115,000 EXP. You're missing the Harp Note gain. You're missing the daily lamp pushes. You're making a lot of bucket fill rate here as well. You're missing up to Villager EXP gain rate, which is pretty good. I would probably do a lot more active management of your opals, trying to equalize levels between, or not exactly equalizing levels, but EXP across your Measurer, your Cosmo, your Engineer, right? So doing an all-in investment of 62 opals at a time on one single villager. In this case, for right now, I do Measurer. And then once this is at like level 6, I'd probably do a reset and go back to Engineer, upgrade RNG Oxidizer, Stringy Effect, like all the stuff that you have resources for. I would probably get here up to first try, I swear, reset that, maybe go back to Measurer, trying to get this like level 7, 8, maybe to get more Villager EXP and Harp String EXP to help you progress those mechanics a little bit. I think that'll probably help out in the short term. When it comes to buckets, trying to push new tier of buckets is going to be very good for you, because up and coming, you're going to have a really large amount of bucket fill rate come in the form of Measurer once you get to level 6 Measurer. This bucket fill rate is a huge multiplier, and it's going to help make the well layer of the cavern much faster. So highly recommend doing that. And then Bravery, I'd honestly just strictly focus on Villager EXP as much as you can to help you progress your villagers much faster. If you're able to afford anything in the gem shop, I do recommend trying to get like parallel villagers or something to help you level up your explorer a little bit faster, or potentially even probably even Measurer to help you get to the bucket fill rate, the Villager EXP increases a little bit faster. You can also do Conjurer points to help you flesh out the Conjurer points a little bit better. But outside of that, probably nothing else I'd really worry about caverns at this time. So a little bit of whole advice there. Hopefully that helped you guys. Thank you guys for the accounts. Hopefully this helped everyone in the YouTube comments as well, kind of prepare their accounts to help give you kind of an idea of what breakpoints to aim for World 6. Generally, again, TLDW is when you're at like League Spirits to Skydoggy Spirits, I think generally you should focus on skilling efficiency, trying to up your prints, trying to worry about maximizing your atom clicks per day in alchemy with Boron. And then when you get to Sky Doggy Spirits, making sure you get to Gloomy in the hole, trying to get that multi-kill per tier bonus from Measure, because that'll really help accelerate your pushing, getting the 10k Golden Hamster Gummies to make sure your sailing is up to snuff, trying to get that Crystal Stake damage, trying to get Trilobite Rock, at least an Eldritch or something to help you with that multi-kill per tier as well. The all stat from the further islands as well will help. And then trying to focus on alchemy, trying to do the power of try 1, try 2, and try 3 bubbles. Either having them unlocked as a base is very good, or upgrading them, and then trying to upgrade your base stat bubbles as well to help you out with that, because that's kind of when damage starts to shift from weapon power more into all stats as a base for scaling your damage in the game. So thank you guys for watching. YouTube, hope you guys enjoyed those little earlier game account reviews. Hopes that helps you guys a little bit push towards World 7 a little bit better. It gives you an idea of what breakpoints to aim for people at this stage of the game. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye bye.